to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So next, roll call, President Carl Ciparelli.
Robert Lewis, Brad.
Ed Moore, Dave Ruth.
And the next agenda item is going to be public comment. Would you like to make a comment? No? No public comments, this time.
Go to the line by Flavia and Chelsea.
The next agenda item is going to be approval of the minutes. The first one is the approval from the March 5th meeting. But then I think I'll look at the minutes.
Looks fine to me. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next agenda item is the approval of February 6th meeting minutes. Everybody got a look at that? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes,
Yes.
Or something's fine.
at 51%.
The next agenda item is going to be the financial report for March 2020. The general district events, year-to-date paid, is that included the 4th of July party? No? That the funds came out for 4th of July party?
No, we haven't encumbered anything yet for July 4th. I mean, well, it's actually June 29th, but yes.
Right.
for that party.
Can you guys turn the camera on? There's a remote right there.
Yes. Are there any questions about the?
Thank you, Victor Curtin, it's that. I don't want to, the meeting from, but I consider the, probably going to put the dog part, but that's what we go through this and irrigation and all of that.
No, that was for the garden area that was proposed from last year. That's probably not going to pull forward this
Right.
year.
So that could be allocated to another budget line, right?
Probably going to go into the Commons Park Plan.
Yeah.
There have been some bocce ball upgrades. It's not showing encumbered, but there's been some money spent over there. Predominance of the 22,000 was the Christmas party for district events. Holiday lighting, for the most part, we tried to do in-house. But we won't see the big expenditure again until Christmas. So that's why you've got so much left over there.
All right, what's the fiscal year? What month? January.
October to October.
Okay, all right. And the Parks and Rec field amenities, does that come out of, like, the maintenance in June?
Correct.
That comes out of that?
Yeah, it's another one that's going to be reprioritized.
Final for obviously that's not happening.
Correct. And that's also going towards the Commons budget.
It's that 1,000. And towards the, where's that?
That was sod.
So
And actually might have been some of the hedges as well. Hedges and irrigation over there at the pump park.
Moving forward, the next item. Fun park and then.
Daniel, can you share the screen? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So last month we started talking, I had no idea. We've had some kind of, like setting garden type of thing.
Yes.
Started discussing. Tables.
I apologize, I haven't been able to do the research, but, my thinking on this is that pool is for all the playful noise happens, right? And there's really no place to have a quiet moment, meditative type of area. And the thinking on that is to, perhaps do a labyrinth, have peace poles there, and just make it, I would like to see underneath that tree, I would like to see tables with built-in chessboards that would withstand the weather. I would love to see a human chessboard area out there. We could, contact some of the Florida native group, Florida native plant groups, and see if they could, or if they wanted to have an area there for us to create just a beautiful, beautiful garden. If we did a nice pergola there, we could actually rent it out for weddings and, you know, receptions, perhaps, things like that. So we could make money off of it if it were in a beautiful type of thing, because I don't know if anybody's been to Selva Marie Gardens up in Sarasota. But it's just, it's stunning. And not that we have that type of area, you know, available. But we could certainly do something along those lines to make this a real peaceful, quiet, calm, meditative place where people gather together. That was my thought. And we could even, I have another thought. Actually, it wasn't mine, it was Chelsea's. There are certain types of older games that goes along with the human chessboard and all that, that could be integrated there that doesn't require like a football field, you know, and it's not the noisy type of game. So that's where my brain is going. I do want to talk to the church. I haven't had time. I apologize. But it is what it is. So hopefully the next meeting I can talk with the church and see what ideas they have as well.
Didn't we have some discussion about moving the bocce ball over to there since that's wide activity?
I don't recall that. But that
Was there,
would make sense. I mean,
because if you remember, the conversation came up that there's sort of trees around the bocce courts that are named for people, and how do we handle that? That was a conversation we had
Oh, yeah,
last.
but I don't think we ever discussed moving it, they plan on putting it in that, by the pool area. Once that's,
Other bocce's gonna go there.
Yeah.
There's gonna be 2 bocce boards.
yeah,
Well, I know that the yoga folks are over there pretty regular.
right, every Saturday we're there, and it could be like an official, you know, place to meet. Rather than just, you know, but I, after thinking about this, I really think that basically we could call Gateway Gardens or, you know, I don't know. It could be a very, very beautiful spot for relaxation, to read a book, to have book clubs.
You know me, though, my plea has been for 3 years now, we have to have a bathroom over there. A two-haler, they could be really nice. You know, they could be architecturally pleasing to look at, but I think it's really important.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know if we lost audio or you guys just stopped talking.
We were talking, can you hear it?
I can, but it keeps going in and out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Our mics were off.
Yeah, that should be better.
Sorry.
Okay, Chelsea, since that's you on the other end, how do we go ahead and initiate getting some things recommended to CDD, to the Board of Governors, like we need to put a bathroom there? Is that something we vote on and agree to recommend that?
I think the bathroom
So
is probably pushing the envelope a little much.
Well, you guys would make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, and also, I think the direction back to this committee was in light of the commons moving forward, and court sports, including bocce, a playground, the trailhead, all of that being included in the first phase. Essentially, the playground at the fun park as well as the, well, basketball court will be sunset. So what alternative Parks and Rec amenities could you put there? Not just necessarily a bathroom. But this group would put together and recommend a list of items to the Board of Supervisors, keeping in mind they're in their budget right now. We have to set the high water mark by June 15th. I mean, there's really no rush to push anything because those amenities will be sunset, if not sooner, depending on what the results of the report are and the cost to make all of those necessary repairs. If the costs exceed the useful life of the equipment, that's a cost benefit analysis we're going to have to look at. But you guys would make the recommendation up to the board.
Okay. So we just need to put a plan together.
Concrete idea,
Mm-hmm.
something. Anybody else have anything?
Hmm?
Anybody else have any comments?
I've got some ideas, got another idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's similar to you guys want to
Is your mic on?
take a look at. I don't know.
It's gotta be tough.
Hello, can you hear me?
Much better, Dave.
Okay. Spent a little bit of time out kind of like at the fun park. As of yesterday, I was talking to 3 kids that were playing basketball. And I kind of went back over the past month and I've kind of like talked to people at the pool, talked to people in Pinecrest and talked to a few family members in Eagle Point. Trying to get some ideas of what we could do at the fun park that was acceptable to people. And kind of in the middle of all that, looking back at my life, I played college basketball and coached girls basketball for 15 years. And so as a person who was supposedly an athlete, you know, I talked to a bunch of kids and they were saying, you know, we really don't, some of us don't have a yard big enough to do some of the things we'd like to do. So the neighborhood park, the fun park is kind of the place we go and play some basketball or jump around and do whatever, just to get us out of the house. Our moms tell us to go over in the field over there and play. And that's kind of what used to happen to us, except we played, you know, from suburbia, we played in the street and played in our yards, which were bigger than some of us own now. So looking backwards, I was kind of like saying, kids need to play, they need to run, they need to jump, they need to throw, they need to hit, they need to exercise, shoot and kick. They need to learn all these skills. We send them out to play things as they get older. We send them to school and they're supposed to go play basketball. Well, a lot of them don't know how to play basketball. A lot of them don't really know how to jump or to improve their jump or to exercise properly. And there's always a dad in the neighborhood that can teach a kid how to throw a baseball. There's always a kid, a guy in that neighborhood that can show you how to shoot a shot the way it should be shot. And there's baseballs and all kinds of things that kids need to throw, footballs that they need to throw. So the thinking was, after talking and speaking with some of the residents in the area, maybe we could put together a place that the kids could do all this. It's kind of an extension, what I would call an extension to people's, I said, lifestyles, their family needs, but more importantly, the individual property limitations that some of us have. I don't have a place that if I had a child, which unfortunately I do have 22-year-old kids, twins. But if I were going back in time as a family member, I don't have a place that I could raise a family to play any kind of event, any kind of sporting thing. And I'm not talking about let's train all the kids in Gateway to become athletes. I don't think that's humanly possible. But I think we can provide them with spaces that they can, get them out of the house and play and do the things that some of them don't get a chance to do right now, only because of some of the limitations of our residences. So I was saying, if you go down to simply put, the new idea is to design a real fun neighborhood park. One of the things that was interesting, I kind of put it in that way because I went over to the fun park and the fun park has been taken off the sign. Now it's just Gateway Neighborhood Park, which I think is what I'm trying to say we need to do. We need to make it a Gateway Neighborhood Park. So people, all of the people in Gateway can come and use that. And so the thinking was, I kind of wrote down a place that is an extension to everyone's properties, a place to develop personal skills and to participate or compete and have fun doing physical activities, a place that people will go and use. There's no point in doing it if people aren't going to go there. A place for families to interact, learn, and teach the art of successful body movement. Okay, learning how to jump higher, learning how to run faster, learning how to do some of these things instead of just, we're doing all these things at the Commons Park. We're providing courts and pickleball and all kinds of things for them to do. But some of them won't be in shape. Even the older people won't be in shape enough to go play it without getting hurt. Okay, to participate, to play outside, a place to play outside. A place to practice running, throwing, exercising, everything mentioned above, a place to develop one's physical or body skills in a neighborhood park designed with, and I threw this in kind of because I have a way of doing this, I think, 5 to 10 workstations to enable all age users. Doesn't matter how old you are, you could go over there and improve your mobility, your agility, accuracy, health. We've got people using the pool steps to stay in healthier, to be able to climb up and down, to be able to move back and forth. And they do that in the pool. If we had a place like that in this park at the fun park, and we called it something different. And I dubbed it the Gateway Skills Park. Okay. And the development of this area, basically talking to people, what's your idea? How should this happen? There some of their comments were the development of this idea should be low cost, starting with a well-groomed grass field that is maintained. Right now, it's not maintained the way it should be. A lot of people don't go over there and use it, or don't play in it, or don't like to sit in it because the grass isn't mowed sometimes. So, we need to make it so all kinds of athletic or play activities can be done there. Yoga and skills. Yoga is already being taught there by a young lady in the area. a place that all age groups can use. The new park area idea should be safe and easily changeable or modified. This place should be or could be used for, skill games, like monthly, we're sailing boats every Sunday, I think, with Bob. Over there, you could have, a series of stations that could be, you could actually mark off what you accomplished that day as a kid or as a parent trying to teach a kid certain things. Like if we had stations that we can come up with, get input from the people in the area and get people like yourselves to develop something, design something that's economical, that's cheap, that we can make, that we can reuse or remake, or if it doesn't work, we'll try something different at that station next time or next year. And so the bottom line to me, the skills park should be designed to be a feeder park to the soccer fields, the local school athletic programs, and the new Commons Park court games and activities that we're currently planning. Okay, it should teach.
So Dave, you're
Yes.
alluding to like agility and like a training, low cost, low impact training center.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
another way to say it. Okay. I know I'm going on here, but I put some examples of stations and usages for the park, just kind of based on things that I've done in the past. We built a wall where I was growing up, or we found a wall on the back of a bowling alley, and we drew targets on it. Okay, so kids can learn to throw balls against those targets. Okay, people can use pickleball and can bang the ball against a wall rather than going over. If you don't know how to play, or if you don't feel comfortable playing, you go over there and you can practice. Okay. We used to use trees, but we also made some, one thing we made was a steel post that we I had a dad weld a basketball court side, a basketball hoop sideways, and they put it at different heights, and we would throw balls through that. Didn't matter what kind of ball, but we would throw balls. It's like a target. And if you were a certain distance back, you got points for doing that. So you practice shooting at a basketball hoop. But one of the things that I did when I was younger, when I was coaching, we went to some AAU basketball games out in Oklahoma, and we met a group of American Indians who didn't have a basketball hoop. All they had was a pole, and it had a hoop on it. They didn't have a backboard. They didn't have enough money for a backboard. And these girls, we thought we were going to kill them. We basically played, we were AAU state champions in Ohio. And basically these girls ran us out of the gym and outshot us. They were like shooting bows and arrows. I mean, they could hit anything, but they were shooting at a pole. It just had a basketball hoop on it. So one of the things I was thinking, maybe at the other end of the court that we have now, until we move to the new court, we just put a pole up with a basketball hoop on it at 10 feet. And on the backside at 8 feet, so kids of different sizes, different ages could shoot at just the hoop. Okay, and we don't have to pay for a backboard. Okay, and so, it was amazing how skilled the kids that use that, those Indian girls, were with that kind of a thing. Other things like a large grassy field, we've got that already. We just need to maintain it. Okay, so it's something that people can go and just enjoy that area. An area for people to walk up and down like stairs, so they can develop their strength in their legs and be able to jump higher. We used to jump on boxes in a 1 foot cube we would jump onto, and then we would get a 2 foot cube, and then a 3 foot cube. And I can't do it now, but I used to be able to jump 40 inches vertical. So that was always something I was real proud of, and that's what kids need to be able to continue to think about. Otherwise they just become the kind of kid that can't do some of the things that they're asked to do in school. Okay. this should be a place that people can go and observe, and observe their kids, their families. So, and I'm suggesting that, parents can do this, grandparents can do this. I could go over there and work on getting back some of the skills that I used to have. It's hard for me to do now. Okay. Maybe a jump pit of some kind. We've got a jump pit with the volleyball court that's already there. You jump in sand, and it's a lot harder than jumping on grass, and a lot safer or a lot better than jumping on concrete. Okay, and just, a whole bunch of ideas like that, vertical jump, way to measure your vertical jump. Okay, and just come up with ideas, and all of us can do that. And I don't want to figure it all out or design it. I just think that there's a need in this area for families to have a place that they can go and they can interact with their children, and kids can go there and it's safe, and grandparents can go watch, if nothing else. Okay, that's my spiel and I'm sticking to it. Okay. So I put it in writing. I wanted everybody to take it, see it, look at it, and come back with ways to improve, whatever I'm talking about here. Okay, thank you.
We all got the comment.
Yeah.
Well, yoga's pretty darn quiet. And meditation park is pretty quiet. And gardens are very quiet. And when we were considering putting a dog park there, the neighbors were rather upset about all of a sudden having to deal with a new noise. And my concern is, what will the neighbors surrounding there think about kids running around, screaming, hooting and hollering, listening to balls hitting walls and stuff like that? Or, all of a sudden we're going from a quiet area to what I would consider a noisy area. So I'd really like to hear what the community folks would think about that, because it's very much different than what you talked about with having quiet area to all of a sudden a noisy area. Whether it's dogs or kids, it's still noise.
We have some homeowners from Pinecrest. Would you like to comment? Any thoughts on that?
Well, we added a public comments at the end just because we knew you guys were going to come.
Oh, we did. I'm
And we
sorry.
want your input.
You want to speak?
Doesn't matter when they do, as long as we did add that the last time.
I didn't see it.
Which is good.
I think it's a good idea. Personally, I think we should just leave that to one central location.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do basketball type stuff,
Mhm.
then you go over to the basketball court after you're done parking
Yeah.
a little bit. You know what I mean? Or if you're hitting the wall, pickleball against the wall, now you wanna play a game. I think they're all good ideas,
Me too.
but I just think the location is the wrong location. But other than that, I think it's a good idea.
If you don't mind, I'd be happy to have some comments as someone who has a property adjacent to the park. And my name's Eileen Kalin from Pinecrest, and I like all the ideas. I think it all, I think they can all be done. I think it's a big space. The gardens, I think now that there's irrigation there, now they put the shrubs in, we've got irrigation. That was a hesitant before to do any kind of community gardens. We've got irrigation, so it's not gonna be hard to extend that out and provide some, I'd love to see a club of some type where there's community involvement, where we have a garden, not a committee, but a club that meets once a month, every Saturday or Sunday or Wednesday afternoon, whatever the constituents would work with them. I think there's resources through the University of Florida Extension Services that can help with doing that native planting. They can help with doing a butterfly garden as a way to start that. And if there's enough interest and there's really commitment from residents that they want to do something extended out, individual plots and do a victory garden, that would be something down the road. If there truly was interest, it would have to be sustainable from the community. But I think a club, if you had a group of people that were willing to meet every Saturday or not every, once a month would be reasonable expectation. But, you know, to provide some socialization, education, I think the University of Florida Extension Services could bring in guest speakers or master gardeners. They could give advice to homeowners on, I know when I first moved to Florida, moved to Gateway, I had no idea what to plant. I had no idea about what survives, what doesn't. They can give a lot of Florida-friendly landscaping in services and seminars, and that could all be collaborated with whatever kind of gardening is going on. So I think that would be great. I think what you're saying about skill building, it's really, that's already what's been going on there for as long as I've lived there, is informal skill building where parents get together with their kids. Whether there's more equipment there or not, that would, I think, could be kind of organic and see what is needed, what people want. I would love to petition to keep a basketball court there, not a court, just a basketball hoop, set at a lower level, set not at a regulation height, but just a simple, like a skill building learner where you could take little kids and practice with them, have them develop some skills so that when they go to the big courts over at the commons area, they're ready for that, or, you know, there's a way to practice there. As far as exercise stations, and if you've ever been to Lakes Park, you can walk that trail where they have fitness stations that could be used by young and old to help develop, you know, leg strength, arm strength, sit up, core strength, you know, and that could, you could take your kids there, and like that would be part of that skill building if there's interested in that. So I think it all can be done. I think it's a matter of starting small and growing it out based on what the community's interested in. I got my 3 minutes. Okay.
Are we allowed to ask them questions? Ask her a question. So I'd like to ask you a question, since you live over there. We have soccer fields, but we have no place for flag football.
Right.
So how would you think on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, you've got 24 people out there playing flag football?
Flag football is played on soccer fields.
They play at the soccer fields.
Let's say they want to play flag football.
When
at
the
the
fields have
park.
been closed, those fields, the fun park has become the de facto soccer practice fields, and they're there.
Okay.
As many as, how many? At one time, there were probably 2 sets of groups practicing, probably 30 kids in each group at the same time. They were organized, they were supervised, there were coaches, there were parents with chairs, handing out water bottles. I mean, they're organized, they know what they're doing, they're not free-for-alling, they're not
But
there at
is-
all hours of the night.
Is the level of noise acceptable to you as a neighbor?
Yes.
I mean, if you can't answer, maybe somebody else.
Yeah,
will be
I
able
would
to.
say depending on the time of day, usually those, you know, 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, probably not, but, you know, from
You don't have
5
control, there won't be control, so.
5 until 7 PM in the evening. Yeah. So at the time, yeah, why wouldn't we have control over it?
Because when people want to just show it, see, the soccer fields you have to rent.
Right. So you're
So
saying
there-
that wouldn't be.
Let's say
renting-
just people, you know, by word of mouth, want to have pickup game and they say, let's meet at the fun park Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. We're going to play flag football. I don't think that's something we could regulate. I mean,
So you're not talking
but-
about the organized leagues that rent out the fields.
not a league, just pickup games.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we played stickball on the street, but I mean, I'm just trying to get a feel for noise tolerance, you know.
Right.
or-
Yeah, well, that's a good question. It's valid because that was the major objection to
Yeah.
the dog park.
Well, the noise,
I mean,
the
because what
noise
you
level
talked
is,
about
going-
was quiet stuff.
the noise level is going to change simply because of all the clusias
Yeah.
that they planted. I
Mhm.
mean,
Right.
that is going
And
to buffer us out.
the noise issues, honestly, are the biggest issues are music. When they're attached to a car with large
Mhm.
Bose speakers that are being played when they're playing basketball. So that's really one of the biggest noise issues, and basketball that was going on well after dark, well into the late hours of the night. Those, as long as I've lived there, those were.
I mean, we had
biggest
that
issues.
this past weekend when we were sailing. People were playing music on the soccer fields and, you know, I just don't want to put something there and then the community's going to say,
Right.
well, this is really noisy and this is not what we thought we were
Right,
getting
I
into.
think putting in it as an intentional field for flag football organization groups would not be advantageous. I think pickup games when people just get together, are the way that goes on all the time now, that's a current event.
Okay.
So thank you for questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I didn't fill this out, but since you asked for comments, I will go ahead. Just with your, again, same as Eileen, I like both of the ideas.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm sorry, this is Tamara Zahn from Pinecrest. And Bob, a couple meetings back, you had mentioned at the RV park that you have, that garden that they have.
Right.
I've been there. I stayed there a few years ago. It's beautiful. It's a great one that we could get pictures of or take a look at, and that would be a great idea. And along with the questions about the noise, I would hate for just me or just Eileen to be representation of that whole community because everybody's a little bit different. But on the occasion that there have been 2 different groups of young kids who would come out and play flag football, and it was fine. It was on a weekend, on a morning, but it was very organized. There wasn't loud music. It's just kids blowing a whistle. I mean, it wasn't anything. So if it's just open for, a group to come once in a while and play, it doesn't happen that often, but it has happened on occasion, and that was acceptable. I think you would have to kind of pick and choose those events if you wanted to do something like that on the side. The jumping, the walk, the exercise path or something like that would be reasonable, and those wouldn't be loud, but like pickleball against a wall, maybe some of the, residents would have an issue with that. So that when it comes down to making those decisions, it might be time for, what am I trying to think of? A letter or something to go around and poll the employee. Hey, here's some of the ideas that we're thinking of, not employees, but the residents. Anyway, so just my thoughts, about the noise level on that.
Thank you.
So I'm very sensitive to, you folks with noise, and we're all familiar with the concept. If you build it, they will come. And all of a sudden, if we make a really nice field, all you have to do is go buy the little plastic cones and put them out. And then people are going to say, well, the soccer fields are for soccer, but we can go here. We don't have to pay for it. And let's do it every Sunday morning at 10. And all of a sudden, it's like, build it and you'll come. Well, it's there. And I don't want us to make a recommendation that all of a sudden people are going to say, this was not a good idea.
Well, one of the things that I think we need to be cognizant of is duplicating our efforts.
Yeah.
Because we do have a lot of exercise things going on at the Commons, at the Linear Park. So we don't want to duplicate anything like that. And I like your idea of the basketball at the
Yeah, should be a
Commons.
section for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
and I
you
love
said.
the idea about the shorter hoop, for the little kids, and I think that's great.
I mean, I don't live in Eagle Point, but if I lived over there or any of the homes, Sunday morning, I don't want to hear any noise. That's me personally. I don't want to hear kids playing. I don't want to hear kids crying. I don't want to hear balls. I want to hear the grass grow. I want to hear the flowers grow. I want to hear the yoga people going, I don't like noise.
How many people in this room have a family and have kids? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have to think about not just ourselves.
Of course.
Okay, we have to think about, and to me, as when I was young, I didn't want to go where the big boys were and they were going to knock me down, jump on my back and hurt me. Okay, because I became one of those guys. Okay, so I would rather teach my children how to play, with an area which, if we do it right, if we developed it right, we would be, again, a feeder to the Commons area where courts are going to be provided. We're going to be playing pickleball. People are going to be, grownups are going to be pretty much there, and again, where do the kids in this area get to play besides their own little yard or on their computers or on their phones? Okay, so to me, this is kind of a thing that kind of like will build up the ability to to be successful at playing. So that's my thought.
All right, Daniel Potter, Public Works Director, just to keep us on time schedule, because we're about 40 minutes into our meeting. Moving on to the next subject for fiscal year 2025 CDD events discussion. Carrie, you want to?
So I put together a draft of events for 24, 25. So this would be starting October of this year. Meanwhile, we just finished up our second fishing derby out of 21 kids that had a blast, and we had about 35 parents, grandparents. We had some sponsors there that helped bring in some food and water, and so people hung out a little bit longer, so it was kind of nice. Our next event will be on June 29th. That's Red, White, and Pool at the Gateway Commons pool area. It'll be from 10 to 2, and we're going to have entertainment, food, raffle drawings, contests. Lee County Sheriff will be there. Fire Department will be there. We're going to have a lot of pool events. We're going to do
Do we have hatchet
cornhole,
throwing?
hatchet throwing for
that
adults
was
and
kind-
kids, both. I brought in for the kids too, because, you know, we're going to have kids there.
Yeah.
We're going to have hula hoop contests. So get, you know, start getting your swing on a little bit. Pool noodle relay races. And then we're going to have giveaways and stuff. So by vendors. So we're going to have Chubb's Build-A-Burger back. And Lee County Sheriff's Office will be there, giving out their ice cream. So my thought is we want to continue working with the community. And what I need from you all is assistance in this. I'm one person, but there's a group of you that can help, you know, relay some sponsors and information. I did send out some stuff to you all, so you have that in front of you. And what I want to do is just try to get some more sponsorship opportunities, especially for Red, White, and Pool. I have one that I think I have two that I've gotten so far. But we have large prizes we're going to give away. Plus, we give a little smaller stuff away to these kids when they win the hula hoop contest and stuff like that. So, if you can help me build up some of those sponsors, I'm looking to you all to help me do that. Also, we also have the some of the big ones, like, you know, everybody keeps talking about Taste of Gateway. Well, that's going to be one that I'm going to need some big sponsors. So all these events, I'm putting a package together for just event sponsorship. And it's going to have different packages depending on the type of event it is. So once I have that, I will roll that out to you all. You can look at it, we'll talk about it, and then I'll move it up the line. So I wanted to kind of give that to you, let you know that's coming. But I kind of gave you a sneak peek for the Red, White Pool. So you just had something to go by. If you know somebody that's interested, please let them know. Tell them to give me give me a call. I appreciate it.
Much like last year, where I brought a schedule for fiscal year 24 to this committee and then eventually to the Board of Supervisors to say, this is what we're looking to do, looking for approval for the fiscal year 25 schedule, as you see it up on the screen. So if you care to make a motion on approving that, appreciate it.
I will make a motion to approve the schedule for 25.
I'll second that, Robert Lewis.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We'll take it to the next Board of Supervisors meeting for a update for them as well.
Can I offer a suggestion on the fishing derby? This is just an idea that may be too far out there, but I think a fish fry would go a long way with not the fish that they catch, but we could sell tickets to the fish fry, right? You incorporate a fish fry with the fishing derby. It could happen. I'm just saying.
The next discussion item is going to be the Gateway Pool restroom renovation.
Gary Runyon, Park Supervisor again. I'm just kind of letting you, give you the information up front. We're in the process of, redoing the 2 bathroom, countertops, sinks, faucets at the Gateway Pool. The larger bathrooms, they're inundated. They're 20 years old. They're falling apart. So we need to do something with them. So I received a quote and then I started looking at faucets, as well. And we're gonna go a little different, with the faucets. We're gonna get the touchless sensor faucets. It's built in with electric. So those are gonna probably be close to double the price. So I'm just kind of throwing out there, it's gonna be more than 2171. It's gonna be closer to 28. So, and if you're not familiar with the Pompey quartz, it's something that it will withstand the beating in a bathroom, a commercial bathroom. So that's kind of why I selected that. It's probably better than anything, and it doesn't hold the mold and mildew because it is not air conditioning in there. So I'm just kind of giving you, this is just information purposes, so you guys understand what's going on.
And Carrie, you're gonna have that, hopefully done before Red, White, and Pool?
Yes, that's my goal.
Oh, to have it done before then, you think?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, and the next item is the playground inspection report for the fun park and the soccer complex.
So you had the inspection report. You looked it over. There's some items in there that we have already corrected, which was the actual engineered wood fiber. We had one playground that had it already dumped before the gentleman got there and certified. And then the second one was done over here at Sherman Soccer Complex. But so that's been rectified. It needed a lot because it was primarily, it was very, very, very low. So we took care of that about a couple weeks ago. There's some fencing that's going to be taken care of when we have the rest of the fencing in the soccer complex. We have a quote and everything, and Mark, our project, our supervisor for maintenance, has taken that on. So that is part of the plan. There's some repairs that need to be done to the fence. With the platforms and the rust and stuff, I'm gonna go through that, see what we can do. They're not exactly in bad shape that we have to replace it, but we do want to do something with the rust to make sure it, like do something with an inhibitor to prevent it from going any further. The swing set, the belt swings, the belt seats and the chain, I just ordered those new ones for both the soccer complex and the fun park. So they'll be coming and those will be replaced as well. And he talked about downspouts and things like that, and we'll look at that with maintenance and see what we can do to make it a little bit cleaner when it comes to the sharpness of the downspouts. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
I do notice that the ramp at the fun park is pretty beat up, pretty damaged. That's about $800 to $1,000 to replace. So just kind of let you know. And I will be looking at some of the other things in there for so any type of damage that if I need to replace. I don't think we can replace the fun park pieces anymore. I think it's so old that I think we're done. So it would have to be a whole new type of playground equipment that we would have to replace for that. The swings can stay. It would be the small little climbing apparatus that would have to be taken out. Okay.
So there's information in there about the basketball court and the
Yeah,
volleyball court.
yeah, he's
No, those are eventually going to move over to the commons area.
correct.
Basically just patching everything up that they can.
Yeah, what we can do, basketball court is not something we patch up.
Right.
Have to resurface.
Yeah, that's a resurface. So that's something we would have to discuss further.
Alright.
Anything else?
I would recommend you use a metal, like a chain net on the basketball hoop rather than the cloth ones,
We're not allowed to do that anymore. We're not supposed to have chains. It's take care of a finger can go bye-bye. So we won't.
really?
Yes, it's very dangerous. It's happened.
Yeah, I never
I
understood.
remember them when I was younger and
Yeah.
not anymore.
There's still an opportunity to do a pole
Right.
with just a hoop on it.
Yes.
At the other end. So that might be one way to start, kind of what we were talking about today.
Exactly.
No, when you said you
So-
can't have a chain, but can you have the traditional rope type?
Yes.
That-
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Just not the chain.
okay.
So this is Chelsea. Kind of what I alluded to earlier in the meeting. Staff has to take this report. We're gonna handle what we can in-house, and the things that we cannot, we're gonna get estimates on. We'll bring it back to the committee and take it up to the board and get their recommendation on how they'd like for us to proceed. I think Daniel got a quote, I think just to resurface, what was it, like 15,000, Daniel?
18 plus.
Okay, so these are costly decisions that, do we invest the money into the fun park, or do we eliminate those assets, and knowing that we're going to be putting those at the commons hopefully within the next year. So we will work on getting some estimates and bringing those back to you all. I will remind you that during last year's budget discussions, we did tell the board that that playground was pretty much at the end of its useful life. And with the results of this inspection report, and if we can contact the manufacturer and see if they even make these parts anymore, that will be a deciding factor on the future of the little play structure, like Carrie was alluding to.
All right, the next, any other public comments? Anybody online that wants to make any public
You hit
comment?
public comments twice now. You can move forward.
Okay. So next up is member item and reports.
Daniel Potter, Public Works Director. The only item that I've got really to bring to your attention that isn't on the agenda here is working towards a survey for the Commons. About the budget, what's associated with the administrative building, what's associated with the additional amenities and the site work that's involved with all the above is coming your way soon. It's something that the board of supervisors has directed Chelsea to go ahead with and move forward with. And I believe our last set of revisions on what that survey is going to look like, we did at the last board meeting last Thursday. So Chelsea, when do you plan on publishing that survey?
This committee has another meeting on June 4th. I'm hoping the board's already approved the survey for us to go out, so we will be having a draft of that for you all on June 4th. The board also said that they wanted for us to put a postcard out to every property owner in Gateway with a QR code to that survey. So we're finalizing that this week. I will be sending it to the board for their final review before we actually send it to the printer and it goes out. The board did also request a joint meeting and a town hall meeting at the end of June. I think we have it tentatively scheduled for June. Let me look at my calendar real quick. June 26th at 6 p.m. 6 to 7:30, where this committee and the Board of Supervisors will be invited, and we'll invite the public for a town hall to discuss and have any comments or public input for the park, the Commons Park plan. We're looking to potentially rent the church across the street to accommodate a larger crowd. So be on the lookout in probably the next week and a half, 2 weeks. But definitely put it on your calendars right now for June 26th at 6 PM.
Wednesday.
Okay. All right,
Beyond that, we've got the park shutdown slated for June 10th through August 18th. Going into, if you went back to my last report to the board for my monthly report, there's a tentative schedule in there for Public Works on what all we plan on doing over here at the soccer complex. So that's online. If you'd like to get a hold of it, or if you'd like a copy of it, let me know and I can shoot it to you. But ultimately, it's going to be along the lines of fixing sod that's damaged out on the field, any electrical or irrigation issues that we've come across. Fencing's going to be a big item for this year for prioritizing, and then any of the items that we have from the inspection list from the playground that we can tackle at the same time. Carrie's got some temporary fencing coming in so that we're able to keep people off the field and isolate the grass, give some time to heal back up. Last year we had approved through the board for the 2 Husqvarna automated mowers. Adding to that arsenal now, I've got the Turf Tank auto sprayer that just hit our docks this week. So we're gonna get that set up. That's really gonna alleviate some of my maintenance time, manpower across the board. It took, when they did the demo, field 5 took 45 minutes and a half a gallon of paint to spray, like plus or minus a centimeter of variance to like a perfect spray. So I think this is going to help us in the future, especially when it comes to moving goals. This past year, we moved goals one time. That's, I think, a big issue with how we're having a lot of between the overplay on the fields, but then also not being able to shift the lines around as easily. With that auto striper, we're going to be able to program it so that we can shift goals more frequently throughout the year. So less wear and tear right in front of the goals on the turf. Having that on board, ultimately, I was spending about $50,000+ in manpower every year to spray those fields. Now we're about down to $9,000 a year for the leased robot. So when the battery goes out, they bring us a new one. When all of the Wi-Fi in the area is out, it runs on GPS. It doesn't have any problems. Yeah, any updates, any software along those lines. It's a 3-year contract with the option to extend indefinitely. So there was a one-time fee up front. The board pushed it through, and then there's a monthly fee that's associated with it. About first year is about $900 a month, and every year after that is like $750. So instead of spending 10 hours a week, 1 to 2 individuals, depending on how hot it is outside, now it's set up a tripod. Here's the iPad. It triangulates with GPS and it goes out and does whatever field you wanted to go do. So
That's how we do our fields at FGCU for baseball. It is slick. And they had a naming contest for the gizmo. So
okay, well, let's look at the naming convention. But we're excited to have that on board because I think ultimately we're going to gain back a lot of our maintenance manpower, where I can now set it up, hit the button. If it stops, it runs out of paint, sends alerts back to the tablet, while maintenance folks can go take care of other issues across the board.
Yeah, that's great.
When is,
Okay.
when is the new maintenance building scheduled to be, and how big is it gonna be?
It's a 3-bay building. So
3-bay.
much like how we have 2 bays right here.
Okay.
It's a 3-bay with a smaller administrative area in the front, square footage wise, off the top of my head. Could tell you, but it's got 3 roll-up doors for like RV size, large scale industrial doors.
3,000,
How much?
3,000, approximately 3,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're working our way through what we're at 90% right now for design, Chelsea. I recall from this morning. Yeah, I don't
If we
think
could get it from the engineer, yeah.
Yeah, if we can get it from the engineer, we'd be at 90% design. Hopefully trying to get to 100% relatively quickly after that, and then through permitting, then do the RFP for getting it built for construction.
Permitting is gonna take probably a year.
Yeah.
truthfully.
Yeah.
I'm a little more optimistic. I think she's starting to get a little pessimistic about permitting. We do have a permit in the pipeline right now that they won't even review until the end of July. So That being
in
said,
the pipeline.
there's variances out there, so, or variables out there to be,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Okay.
So we're aiming for next year, right? At least to break ground.
When you shut down the field for the maintenance, are there gonna be access to the playgrounds or no?
So we're gonna open up the side gate here on the, where the bocce ball court's at, and the
Mhm.
playground's at.
Okay,
And then basically segregate that area off so
Gotcha.
that people can still access the bathrooms, they can still access the playground, they can still access the bocce courts,
okay, good.
and the pavilion, but beyond that, we're gonna close down the field so
Right.
that everybody can't get
We,
on it.
and we're gonna try that. We have not done that in the last 2 summers. We're gonna try it as long as the residents, follow the rules. And if they can't follow the rules and stay off the fields, then we will shut down the whole complex and encourage folks to use the fun park.
The cool part about having the new auto sprayer that's out there in tandem with getting it scheduled with the mowing, so mow first, spray
Mhm.
next, and the ability to move things a little bit more easily. I'm suggesting to Chelsea that we look at how we alternate through play on the fields throughout the year. And wet season timeframes, we loosen up on field 2, and we still gotta figure out what this looks like with the leagues, but stop playing on field 2 to give it a 30-day relaxer, give it some time to heal, because we know field 2 is our swamp that holds all the water. Field 2 is the complete opposite. It's the drought and doesn't hold any water whatsoever. So figuring out how to rotate fields through so that they get some time down throughout the season, without really impacting much play.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And like,
Oh.
one last thing, we've done it I think last summer was the first summer that we've done it. We'll shift 2 soccer goals down to the fun park. That way, those who want to play over the summer, like Dave said, and continue practicing their skills, will be able to.
And I just want to add too is, I talked to the flag football organization as well as the soccer at Gateway here, and we're going to start in the middle, well, towards the end of August instead of waiting till September. And so they'll be done by Thanksgiving. And that way it'll give it an opportunity to rest the fields for the whole month of December before coming back in January. So that will, yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the year, those fields are tore up.
Yeah.
And
So we made that adjustment for this year, for this fall.
hopefully that works.
So that's all I have for member items.
All right, so the next agenda item is to set next meeting's agenda. So if we put on the agenda, if we're gonna meet for July and August,
Discussion.
yeah, discussion of that. Anybody else have anything to add?
So
No?
far, the only thing you have scheduled for your June 4th meeting is a continued discussion of the fun park amenities and then the park survey.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Having a meeting June 4th.
yeah, so the next meeting is gonna be June 4th at 1 o'clock. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting, 7:03. Oh, yeah, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I assume the dog park bathroom and the pavilion are still gonna be open, even though the field